Hello and welcome to the second episode of the web series We Suck, where we explore the reasons why we suck as human beings and possibly ways to make us suck a little bit less. Today's episode is based on the concept of trust, why it's so important to us, and what it affects when we don't have it. So let's explore a little bit about what trust is. Trust is when you accept the word of another person, or you expect a certain type of action from another person or from yourself. So the basis for all trust so far in humanity is things that we've learned experiences, especially from our parents. Our parents are the first example of where trust has come from. We learn to trust them because, well, they're the ones who raised us, and we would expect them, of all people, to be trustworthy. Now, of course, I'm not saying that all parents are trustworthy, because the fact is, they're not. There are some parents who are downright untrustworthy, and you should try to avoid them like the plague. But, for all intents and purposes, we're going to explore the origin of trust. That each of our positions on trust in the future is based off of our interaction with our family. Now, we have all established our lack of trust from our parents because they would do things like, well, you shouldn't do something because I told you so, or you should do something because I told you so, or that's not an acceptable behavior because that's just the way it is. And we had this sort of mistrust of our parents because we always thought they were doing things that were just not fun for us, and they were just doing it because they didn't like us, or they were mad at us, or they were always in trouble for something we didn't understand because they never took the time to explain it to us. And so right from the beginning we have difficulty understanding trust because it's based off of words, no actions, and no understandings, no details. Of course, we're children and we don't really understand the depths of the things that they're trying to say to us, so to their defense, the term "because I said so" has merit because we really wouldn't understand it if they explained it to us anyway. So had we taken advantage of the experiences that our parents shared with us, say for example they told us not to go on a date with X person, then we may not have suffered the heartache that was caused by dating X person. However, the experiences that we gained from dating that person is going to help us build relationships in the future. So in the end, despite the fact that we didn't trust our parents, we actually learned a valuable lesson, and we are now better because of it. So things would be technically easier if we listened to what our parents had to say. We just wouldn't have the experience and knowledge and understanding of the reasons why they say those things. Then we experience it ourselves, and then we move on. So we originally established our baseline of trust from our parents, and all these things that they do to us that make us angry, that make us feel like we're always in trouble, like we're always bad. They always tell us that we're horrible people. And again, let me remind you that I think parents are great. My parents were wonderful. I just didn't understand what they were doing or why. But as a baseline, we started to establish this mistrust, especially from adults, because adults were always telling us to do things that weren't fun. And they would make us do things that we didn't like, and they wouldn't give us any good reason for it. Just we are supposed to accept it because they're the adults, or that they're our parents because they said so. And so there's this mistrust that we develop from the adult perspective. So we take that mistrust with us to our adult lives, and every time that we establish any relationship in the future, we always have that level of mistrust. Each situation builds on one another to where we sort of just don't trust anybody in the world anymore. Well, let's take an example of relationships. Friendships first, because that's usually what we develop first as children. We develop this friendship. Let's say your best friend, the person that you trust the most, because they're always there for you, they're willing to listen to you no matter what you have to say, and they stand by you no matter how weird you act and what weird, dumb things that you say and do. That's great friendship. That's good trust. And having a best friend is a wonderful thing. Most of us have one of those. Some of us don't. Some of us have been betrayed by our best friends, which is very difficult. I haven't been betrayed by mine. I've known him about 26 years, but our relationship is not as active as it used to be. But as kids, when you develop your best friends, that trust level is established from what you guys do together and what they let you get away with. Because I trust my best friend because he helped me do things that my parents told me not to do. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. This is pretty common with all best friends. They all help you experience things that you wouldn't have otherwise experienced. So you develop this level of trust with that particular friend. And each future relationship that you ever have, be it friend, family, or relationship partner, is developed from this level of friendship that you got with your best friend. So now you move on to more professional relationships with trust. Say your boss, your coworkers, fellow employees, teachers. The level of trust that you have with them is all entirely based on learned behavior. If my parents told me that I shouldn't trust police officers because police officers are always out to get you, then I'll grow up not trusting police officers. Because when I was a kid, they used to tell you if there was a problem, find a fireman or policeman because they would always help you out. Well, that's not entirely true today, because if you go find a policeman or a fireman, especially policemen, they'll think immediately that you had something to do with it, and they'll hold you for questioning, and then they'll make you feel guilty. Now, to their defense, they're not doing it on purpose just because they assume you're guilty. They're just trying to find out the truth, and without your help, they're never going to get there, because you're the first one that brought it to their attention, so they have to investigate you. Of course, trust with police officers doesn't extend too far when it comes to things like getting speeding tickets and random events where they put you on the spot and make you feel uncomfortable. So that's a different level of trust entirely. But as for fellow employees and your bosses, you have to develop a certain level of trust where you think that it's okay and acceptable for you to participate in activities in and around them. If you don't trust your fellow coworkers or your boss, then it'd be very difficult for you to have your job. A lot of us don't trust our fellow employees and coworkers because they steal our food out of the refrigerator or they take stuff off of our desk. We have to trust that they're not going to do these things, and there's not very much recourse from that position if you don't have that trust. Especially your boss. If you don't trust your boss, you really shouldn't be working there at all, because he's in charge of your paycheck, and if you don't trust him, he probably doesn't trust you, which means you're not going to get a promotion. It means you're not going to get more responsibilities or any opportunities to move up in the company. So how do you make them trust you? Well, you just do stuff. Every time that they need your help, you do nice things for them. Whenever you see the opportunity to go out of your way to help them out, you should, because it establishes trusts. Especially with your friends, family, even relationship partners, when you do nice things for them, they are willing to do nice things for you. Thus established is more trust. But again, like I said in the first video, most human beings are very selfish, and so they don't go out of their way to do nice things for other people, and so it's really hard for us to establish this baseline of trust. We're too busy trying to do what's best for us, so how do we have time to do nice things for other people when we don't trust them, so in turn they don't trust us? Well, now we get into the problem. We suck as human beings because we don't trust anybody, and they don't trust us because we don't trust them. The fact of the matter is, when I walk outside today, there's a large number of people that I don't trust. The people on the road, the people walking in front of my house, the people that I work with, the people that I see every day at the mall, the store, anywhere else. I don't trust them. I don't know if one of them is going to try to rob me or one of them is going to try to rape me. That's not very likely, but at the same time, it is possible. All of these possibilities are things that establish mistrust between me and other people. So I have to learn how to trust, or I can't move forward and make life suck less. That doesn't mean you should just be stupid and allow bad people to take advantage of you. You should always be prepared for the worst case scenario. But as Maya Angelou said, prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. I hope that good things will happen to me, but I'm prepared just in case they don't. So I'm not really worried just in case, someone might pull a gun on me and shoot me. I trust that that's not going to happen, and if it does, then I learn to protect myself. Again, I said I teach martial arts, so I'm less worried. It doesn't mean I can dodge a bullet, it just means that I'm less worried about those situations. So I have to give the benefit of the doubt to the people around me in the hopes that they can show that I'm trustworthy too. Because if I give them trust, they will give me trust. So moving on to the third and last aspects of relationships is relationships with a partner. A female, a male, girlfriend, boyfriend relationships. These fail because we lie. All relationships fail because we lie. And trust is never established through lies. I mean, think about it. Our first dates are the biggest lies we've ever portrayed. Because we go out and pretend to be a better person than we really are. We want them to be impressed by the things that we've accomplished, things that we've done, how we dress, the way we smell, and these are things that we don't do all the time. So I don't dress up in a tuxedo all the time. So me going on a first date dressed in a tuxedo is going to establish a very bad baseline for that relationship. I also don't wear what I call smell good. I don't put on cologne. If I do, then it's possible that the person I'm on a date with is going to assume that I always wear cologne, and they may judge their opinion based on that. It's not that I'm saying that I'm a stinky guy and I like being stinky, but the thing is, it's a personal preference. I mean, some people do, some people don't. So, date number one, the very first date, you've established this baseline of who you are. That's not at all who you are. You act more polite than you would under normal circumstances. You don't burp or fart in front of them, and you definitely don't cuss in front of them. You don't whip out a cigarette. You don't act like yourself because you're trying to impress them. Well, you've just established your first relationship with this person as a lie. So how's your relationship supposed to progress from there? Well, you become more comfortable with them and you start to share little things and become more relaxed around that person, which is good. But then you get into the problem where in the future they go, well, how come they weren't like this from the beginning? Because I know for a fact that I'm a really nice guy. I was raised as a gentleman. And so I'm always a gentleman. The biggest problem that I face is that people don't trust me because I'm too nice. Because I do so many nice things for them, they're like, whoa, wait a second. Your intentions must be messed up because no one acts like this. Nobody holds doors for people anymore. Nobody pays for everything. Nobody walks out of their way and does nice things for anyone. No one throws their coat over a puddle of water for a lady to walk across. I mean, these things are just lost in our culture today. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen, it's just very rare. And so when I do it, everybody assumes that there must be something going on, that I must have an ulterior motive, and hence they don't trust me. And this is a sucky situation. I mean, think about it. I've already been established as not trustworthy because I'm nice. That doesn't even make any sense. Because theoretically, that's exactly what a person is looking for. A girl is looking for a nice guy to treat them well. Of course, there are some who are interested in bad boys, but that's beside the point. In general, women are looking for men who are kind, who are courteous, who will treat them well, respect them. And men are looking for women who don't lie or cheat. I mean, it sounds bad, but that's really kind of true. I mean, they're looking for a good-looking girl who's not going to lie and cheat on them. Because it happens. I'm going to be honest, I've been lied to and cheated on by every single girl that I've ever been with. Why? Because the established norm in society today is lying and cheating is acceptable. When something bad happens, you go off and you cheat on them. You think that they're talking to some other girl, so you run off and go have sex with somebody else. Well, that doesn't really make it better, and that actually causes even greater problems because let's say, for example, they weren't cheating on you. Now you've gone off and cheated in response to something that you thought was going on, and it actually wasn't. So more lies and more mistrust, and then eventually the relationship just ends in a very bad way. I recently was in a relationship where I asked my ex to do something very specific, to not break up with me in a particular way. And that was via text message. I told her that at one point in my life someone did that to me and it hurt a lot, and she promised me that she would never, ever do that to me. I mean, because that's a horrible thing to do to a person. If you don't like them, just tell them. Just sit down, talk to them like an adult, and say, hey, that's what's up. But she didn't. She probably was scared. I never lied to her and I never cheated on her. But apparently I made her feel uncomfortable and she decided to just outright end it. And I tried to fight for it. And that's the thing, is that when you fight for something like a relationship nowadays, people have a tendency to get all freaked out. Life isn't really like a movie. It's not like a book. And when you go out of your way to confess your love to a person, they have a tendency to just freak out and they think you're a creeper or something like that. Because, you know, in a movie, it's raining outside and you run up to the person you love and you tell them, I love you, and they cry in your arms and then you make up and everything is great. Well, that makes for a good movie, but that's not real life. Because trust has been violated to get to that point, then it doesn't just get made up because you said something cool to the other person. I could spout out poetry all day. I've written poems before. But that doesn't mean that it holds any credence at that point when trust is lost. So now people are losing friendships, they're losing relationships, they're breaking trusts and ties with family because we lie. And we all do it because we're selfish. So I guess what we really need to start doing is to trust ourselves first. Then try to trust other people. And then maybe we can move forward in the world a little bit with a little bit more trust. Don't always assume the worst. Communicate. Ask questions if you don't understand something. Give people the benefit of the doubt and let them explain what's going on before you just assume the worst. Because the worst thing that could happen is to end a relationship off of misunderstandings or mistrust when there's nothing really going wrong. Remember the story of the boy who cried wolf? He died because he kept lying to people. I'm not saying that relationships are going to end with death just because there's a lie involved, but a relationship will die. It will end without trust. So try it. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt. Trust someone. And trust yourself. I know that means you have to leave yourself vulnerable, but it might work out for you in the end. Something good might come of it. So try not to suck quite as much, and trust a little bit. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope that we can figure out a way to make the world suck a little bit less. If you like what you saw, like. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. Something good, something bad, it's okay with me. And subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know if you have any ideas for future videos. I plan to do a lot of topics at some point. Alright, well, I hope to see you next time.